Your favorite Compas have another jam-packed episode of Lunes Live. Gilberto and I got you guys covered with our takeaways from the Chargers and Rams battle of the backup quarterbacks at SoFi Stadium and the rest of the NFL Week 2 preseason storylines. But we are not alone. Okay, we have a very special guest joining us today. You guys love him. You guys know him. He'll be here at 5:15, so make sure you guys sit back. Agarra unas chelas, just relax.
Pacific time, Fernando. We're like worldwide. We're like Mr. Pitbull 305.
Yeah. Oh, we got to visit that stadium one day.
Pitbull.
But yeah, we're gonna have a compa jumping on. You guys know him. You guys love him. 5:15 Pacific. Make sure you guys stay tuned because you guys aren't gonna want to miss it. Talking all things NFL. He knows both teams very well. Plus, on today's show, we are back with Combat Talk, UFC 305, DDP, and Israel Adesanya. We'll talk about Adesanya. We'll talk about.
I think say lasagna there for a little bit.
No. And we will get into some quick hits on WWE boxing. Time permitting, Vic, the producer, will jump on to talk about NFL Crossfire, and we will close out with Una Mas, again, time permitting. But all right, Gilberto, don't you have an engagement question for our viewers and or listeners?
I do. I'm a little annoyed because it's gotten to this point. You know, Tyreek Hill keeps calling out Noah Lyles, the guy who won the gold medal in the Paris Olympic Games and the 100 meters. And the cheetah says he wants to race Noah Lyles. But get this, he wants to race him in a 50-yard dash. That is half the distance of a 100 meters. We get it, yards, meters, keep track there. That is less. So maybe the cheetah has a chance to beat Noah Lyles. And you know, come on, I get that he's fast in the NFL, but when you're talking about an Olympic champion in the 100s, I think I'm on side with Noah Lyles. But, you know, we're getting to a point where we're actually curious. We want to see what the cheetah does against the Olympic champion. So let me know in the comments, can Tyreek Hill beat Noah Lyles in a 50-yard dash? Remember, it's not the 100 or 200. It's very quick. And Tyreek Hill, we're known for that peace sign right there. But let us know in the comments for Tyreek Hill versus Noah Lyles 50-yard dash on pay-per-view. I bet you in the offseason, Fernando. $50. Would you pay for that?
No. By the way, this is probably what Noah Lyles has to say. This is anytime anybody's asking about a professional athlete, this is what he said.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that guy?
I actually believe him
this whole time.
I believe him with Nikola Jokic. I'm like, who's that guy? Like he looked like he was serious when he was talking. I think he was trolling about Tyreek Hill and trolling about some media players, but Jokic, I think I believed.
Yeah, no, I completely agree about that. All right, let's go to the intro.
Compas on the beat. Let's get it. Let's go.
Yeah. So we're Compas.
Yeah, we are.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, all right, we got proof right there.
Some guy that seems like he's asleep. Need you to wake up, Gilbert. There's a lot of energy.
Come on, Gilbert. Let's go.
Come on. Dan and Dago is at Moe's.
I'll show you. I got it right.
Okay, that's it. You guys, I am done with mine, but that's couldn't get better than a 2026 6th-round pick swap for a 7-rounder. So
freaking love you, Chad.
Hey, dude. Cool, man.
Compas on the beat, man. Derwin James signing off, man. Watch Compas on the beat, man.
Ooh, welcome to Compas on the Beat. I'm Fernando Ramirez. I cover the Chargers for the Sporting Tribune. With me, as always, my co-host, my tag team partner, Gilbert Manzano, covers the NFL for Sports Illustrated. What's up, bro?
What's up, bro? It's been, a couple months now since we revealed the intro there, and every time we just end it with Derwin James saying, I watch Compas on the Beat, I just get hyped up. Like, it's game time for the show here. Yeah. Eventually, I do want you to add a guy, Fiati.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, that's coming.
Derwin ending it feels right because we did get the show started with the Chargers, and their first big guest was Derwin James.
Exactly. Yeah, that is pretty. Oh wow, Gil the thrill. Wow, that's actually a new one. You know, with moi.
I like that. You know, finally I get a nickname. I feel like Dan and Leo gets all the nicknames. Quick story, Fernando. I thought when I read it at first this was AI G fella, but it's actually just Al G fella. So that's a mistake on me.
There you go. He says 2 different sports on 2 different levels. By the way, speaking of everything, that first person that did the intro, Ryan Garcia, was in San Diego over the weekend.
Oh, did you see him?
I wish. Well, we would have had a pod with him. he got thrown out. Well, allegedly got thrown out of a bar down here. Allegedly.
I didn't even care where he got thrown out of. It sounds right. He got thrown out of somewhere.
Yeah, he got thrown out of a bar allegedly
Okay.
last night out of Double Deuce near Petco Park.
I seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was, or it was either last
The
night.
mechanical bull there, right?
Yeah. It was over the weekend. I thought it was last night because they posted the video late last night. So I was like, wow. I'm like, all right. And then Devin Haney misses when he tries to punch somebody at the Orange County.
I was gonna say, was that the OC fair? I was actually there like a week ago.
Yeah.
Jesus,
so,
Devin.
I don't know what is going on. And
Who's
then
having a worse, I guess, aftermath from the fight? Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia?
I still think it's Devin. Devin said it feels like, he tweeted out, it feels like the sport needs something. I'm gonna come back. And then Ryan's like, I'm literally LOLing. Like nobody wants you back.
He couldn't even knock out a regular civilian at the freaking fair.
I know. So let me ask you a quick one. Well, with me, it would have been so yeah. Let me ask you. Could they do this fight in Turkey or in Saudi Arabia?
Why Turkey?
What my bad. The His Excellence from Turkey. Could they do that in Saudi Arabia? Yeah, my bad.
And honestly, I want to know if it's pronounced Turkey because you always just hear His Excellency. Like, okay, like so what's his actual name? I want to hear it pronounced. We got to do a YouTube video or check it out. But maybe we'll get him on the show. How about that? Yeah, there you go. I like that, Fernando. But if he said you can't have him there, maybe it's not a sanctioned fight. Also, maybe the rules only apply in the U.S. I thought maybe because Saudi is getting more involved with the whole boxing landscape that they will, uphold the 1 year suspension. But if there's some way around it, it would be in Saudi Arabia, I guess.
I would love it. I would love Devin because what do you think what do you think they'd get him
for money?
50 million to Ryan and 35 to.
That's way too much for those guys. That's like Canelo territory. Really? I think for sure Garcia would get a good amount, and then Devin, who put his life on the line after the last time, it will require some big chunk change. But if you say those numbers, I think they'll do it for sure.
Yeah, I think if you want to do a huge card, I'm not saying them main event, maybe co-main event, but I feel like they would do something big. I'd love to see it again. I don't know why. And I've already seen it once, and I know that what happened the first time is going to happen again. By the way, Ryan tweeted at His Excellency, and he said, "Let's make sure we drug test this time." So I actually was like, "Wow, okay." See, Ryan didn't do anything wrong. He just probably just put a little bit too much creatine in his cornflakes.
Yeah,
and that's what made it spike.
Maybe Devin should do that too because he needs a little more pop in those hands. When you're not beating up people at the fair,
I saw the picture of him at the fight here in LA, and he looked a little chubby. So Turkish is hella hard.
Yeah, Mo. Yeah, I can't figure it. I felt weird saying Turkey, and I'm sure Fernando did too.
yeah, exactly. Well, initially you thought I was saying Turkey for
the country.
I meant in Saudi Arabia. But
yeah, no, but I also feel weird calling him his excellency. There you go.
Yeah, it feels. I mean, I
just say Riyadh season promoter or guy with a lot of money promoter.
Hall of Fame Riyadh promoter.
Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame and 1 year
exactly. Promoter. Folks, we are about a minute away from our special guest jumping on, so make sure Charger fans, Rams fans, NFL fans, make sure you guys are tuned in. Make sure you let people know because it's about to go off right now with our special guest. So make sure you guys are ready to go for that. You would have Ryan winning again, right?
Yeah, definitely. But I don't think either guy's in shape. So
yeah. Oh, that's true. Well, I saw Ryan a little chubbed up also on in that video where.
Well, at least on good news for Ryan Garcia because he is a friend of the show. At the end of the day, I saw there was good news with his mom. I think she is in remission. I think I saw a video where she came out the hospital and it looked like it was good news. So good for her.
Yeah. By the way, real quick, I saw on a podcast that that Roman Reigns supposedly is still going through stuff for his. Remember?
Really?
Yeah. So
he had cancer, right?
Yeah. He had leukemia.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they kind of took his schedule down a little bit. Well, a lot. But yeah. So I'm glad to hear that she is, and that's why I gave Vargas's son Amado. I gave him a lot of credit because he opened that press conference and he said, "Hey, we just want to let you know that we are praying for your family. We're praying that your mom gets better." He told Sean that, and Sean's like, "Thank you, F you. Let's get this going. Come on, let's
like
try and
it.
sell this."
Like,
Yeah,
that's
no.
nice.
I liked it
boxing
too.
at the end of the day, so it's business. But
Exactly.
Fernando, how about a good segue into we get Eric Williams to jump on? Any stories from SoFi Stadium? I'm curious.
Look at him. Just breaking the news of who's jumping on.
Oh, sorry, did I? Okay. You know what? Moy 42 said, "Oh, we locked in." I thought you might have already said it, so I was like, okay. But yeah, you should be locked in, Moy, because we have a very good guest. If you want to hype him up in a bit, but yeah,
exactly. Oh, by the way, well, Vic, if you could quickly tweet out the link and everything, and tag Eric in it, that'd be great, so people know. I forgot to say that earlier.
We gotta pay the $8 there. Where's where's the tier to give us more money?
One thing is I overate, but I mean, I guess that's a story for. We can't let our special guest wait too long. If not, he gets antsy and he's like, "What the hell? Like, why do you have me in here and you don't have me on the show?" But let's get him on the show. Eric D. Williams, you know him, you love him. Fox Sports reporter, covers all things AFC, NFC West. He is the man, the myth, the legend. Eric, how are you?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Doing well, Great. Eric. Are you tired of Fernando already? You keep going on these road trips with him to Oxnard, road trips to Irvine or Costa Mesa. Like, you got to be tired of the guy, right?
No, because what he doesn't know is I'm creating a book called Writing with Fernando.
I don't know if people would no, Eric. Some people.
Oh, believe me, they'll read.
Some people wouldn't like our conversations that we.
Well, there'll be a big chapter from Dan and Dago's takes, right? I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, that's like a whole separate book almost, really.
I will buy that. I will do that.
Speaking of which, Gilbert, if Eric has a son, shout out to his son,
Isaiah.
Isaiah, yeah, thank you. Gilbert, what kind of hairstyle do you think Isaiah has? Look at his father. What kind of hairstyle?
He's not going for the shaved head look. I don't think he's going for that. But I think I've seen a couple of pictures. I think he's rocking the curly hair, no?
Oh, yeah. He has a full set. Eric, why does he not want to cut his hair?
Because he's afraid he'll look like me in a couple of years. He's running around like Corbin Blue from High School Musical.
Yeah,
I guess if you do shave it and you start growing it back and you see it's kind of coming back too far back, then you do freak out. So maybe it's better not to know, Eric. I like the approach from your son.
We all drove together to the Seahawks Chargers preseason game, and Isaiah's funny. He's a funny dude. So I had met him when he was young, like I'm telling you, like 12, 13 years old. I hadn't seen him in a while.
Days.
Yeah, I hadn't seen him in a lot. Yeah, skateboarding days, and I hadn't seen him in a while, and I saw him now. I'm like, damn. I'm like, look at the fit, look at the hair. He's like, yeah, dude, I'm swagged out. And Eric's just rolling his eyes.
He's an interesting character, man. He makes me laugh like all the time.
Oh, he had me dying in the car, but yeah, it's been interesting traveling all this time with Eric. We got another one coming up, Raiders Chargers in a couple weeks, so that'll be a fun one. But Eric, right off the bat, man, we got to ask you. The three of us had discussed this, and I think all three of us were in the same wheelhouse on who we thought was going to win the Raiders job. They go with Gardner Minshew. Eric, thoughts on Gardner Minshew taking the starting job over AOC?
Yeah, I think all three of us were in Costa Mesa at the same time to watch the Raiders practice, and we got an up-close view of Aidan O'Connell and Minshew. Got a chance to talk to Tom Telesco, former GM with the Chargers, now with the Raiders. I kind of always thought it was going to be Gardner just because of the amount of money that they paid him. 2 years, $25 million, $15 million guaranteed. Knowing Telesco a little bit in his history with the Chargers, they never want that kind of money to be sitting on the sidelines. They want their money on the field. And if all things were equal and really out of those two guys, nobody really grabbed the job when you watch them both in practice and in preseason games. And so why not go with the guy that has a little bit more experience, that's making more money, and see how he does out the gate. There's a lot of stress on winning games early, which makes sense because Antonio Pierce is just a year off of removing the interim tag. So he's obviously wants to win games to keep his job, really. And so it makes sense to go with the more experienced guy. This is an organization, a team that turned the ball over 24 times last year. So a guy that can maybe help limit turnovers, I think will be important. He's got a little swag to him. He's got a little Jim McMahon to him, with the headband and kind of the moxie, I guess is one word that Telesco used to describe him. And so, he kind of just looks like a Raider. When you watch him out there on the field, he kind of fits that franchise and kind of their culture. And so I'm interested to see how he does, but I also understand that it's probably going to be short leash. If they start off 1-3, 2-4, I would expect Aidan to be in there at some point because, again, they expect to win games. And also watch that interaction with Adams, what that is like on a weekly basis, because I do think that's going to impact, who's in the game.
Yeah, Eric, I was thinking that, who's going to make Davante Adams happy, at least through the trading deadline where, hey, you're pushing the ball down the field, you're giving me opportunity. It might not be the best pass, but give me an opportunity to make a play. And I feel like Minshew does that with his backyard style, throwing the ball down the field. I feel like with AOC, yeah, there's some upside you haven't seen, but how high is that upside? It doesn't feel like it's too high. Obviously, he's on a first-round pick. But from the start, I felt like Pierce wanted AOC because he kind of got him the job, which ironically, those couple wins with the Chiefs and the Chargers knocked him out of the top 10 pick to get a quarterback. So AOC helped himself there. But like what you said earlier, Eric, I thought maybe it felt like a fair shake for both guys. If Tom's guy is Minshew and AOC is Pierce's guy, go earn the job. Nobody did. So now Double T there is like, hey, AP, can I vouch for my guy? Do you have an open ear here? And I think that's what it felt like. So I don't know what you guys felt, or Fernando, you want to give your thoughts here, but it just seemed like at the end of the day, it's like Tom Telesco who paid him that money. And for now, to your credit, you did bring him to the point that, yeah, maybe he never worked with Minshew, but Minshew worked with Shane Steichen, who Shane Steichen worked with the Chargers for many years.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what my point was, is that obviously bringing in Minshew was going to be competition for AOC, and you can't just give him the job. But I really think that I'm sort of wondering how short let's just say, because obviously Gardner right away is going to get Jesse Minter's scheme. Nobody knows what this scheme's going to look like because it's been in college, but you don't know what it's going to look like in the NFL. So Eric, my question to you my question to you is, let's just say Gardner first in the first half throws 2 picks and the Chargers are kind of up. What do you think? Do you think that's how short the leash is?
Wow.
Or do you feel like it's games, like you said, 1-3, something like that? Or do you feel like right away, 2 interceptions deep, Chargers are up, like, let's just say 21-0 going into half? Is that when he pulls the trigger and says, you know what, let's try something else? And because obviously it's going to depend on how tight what's his name? Antonio Pierce feels it, how hot it gets in there. But how do you feel like how short do you think that leash is?
Yeah, I expect it to be a four games. He talked about addressing this first quarter of the season and that they needed to start fast during the first quarter of the season. And I feel like you can't manage a quarterback game by game, that you have to give him a little bit of room for error to make some mistakes so he can go out there and play free and not feel like he's going to be, it's do or die on every throw that he makes. So if he does make a bad play or makes an interception, he's got to have the ability to kind of shake it off and get out there and continue to play, like a gunslinger, or at least, be able to throw it in there and kind of live with the results for a couple games. And so I don't think it's going to be, play a bad half and you're out. I could be wrong, but I would imagine he's going to give him, 3-4 game, run out and then address, evaluate, kind of see where you're at.
Gilbert, can I say just 2 things real fast? One, I love how former players are the ones that divide it up into quarter, like the first 4 games, the next 4, like Anthony Lynn used to do that a lot. I've heard Dan Campbell say that, like, the season's divided into quarters. So I love that. But going back to Gilbert's point and to yours too, Eric, he was basically begging, like every press conference that somebody would ask him, hey, Aidan O'Connell and Minshew, and he'd be like, somebody needs to take this job and say, hey, this is my job. I'm going to take it. That's not what it felt like happened. It didn't feel like somebody just took the job. It felt like they went with who's going to give us the least problems and who can help us win. And I mean, let's be fair. Gardner was 1/4 down away from possibly winning the division for his team for the Colts last year and knocking out Houston. So I think Gardner kind of gives him a better opportunity. Like we said, though, we don't know how he's going to be able to do on this team, but I feel like Gardner kind of gives them a better chance over AOC. Now, my only question is, Gardner has been a backup in years past where he doesn't start off the season. He's the guy that comes in later. How is that going to be for AOC now being a backup after the season that he had last year? He probably thought, you know what? I probably deserve to be the guy. He's not the guy. And now he has to come in and be a backup. So I wonder how all that's going to go.
Yeah. I wonder, let's end this here and just think about this. I just thought about it, Eric, and sorry if I cut you off. But,
No.
Gardner Minshew did not have that strong of a defense last year with the Colts. And they were okay. They weren't the best, but they still won 8-9 games.
Shout out to Bradley.
I'm sorry. But the Raiders feel like they have a better defense. And I'm blanking on the DC's name. Oh, Patrick Graham. It feels like they might have a top 10 defense. So maybe they just saw what happened last year. You kind of just do simple math. 8-9 wins with that defense. With our defense, maybe it's 10. You make the playoffs. I don't know if you guys buy that kind of math there, Eric and Fernando.
Oh, I think they're going to play similar to how Pete Carroll played with Seattle when Russell Wilson was a quarterback his first 2 years. And, really lean on your defense, run the football with Zamir White and get in those 2 tight end sets and do some play action off of that and take some shots when you can take shots. But really, you're trying to manage the game. You're trying to keep away from, the more potent offense, that you're going to be facing, whether it's, potentially the Chargers, although they haven't looked so potent when you've watched them in the preseason. Obviously, the Ravens is their second game that they'll have to deal with on the road. And then I think they have Cleveland, and I can't remember what their 4th game is. So yeah, just game management, is what you're expecting from Minshew. And then when there's plays to be made, make those plays, create some chunk plays, with Adams and with Brock Bowers as well. It's
at Chargers, at Ravens, Panthers go there, and then Browns come there. So that's how that is going to start off. All right, Eric, let's move on to a team that you covered for numerous years. But by the way, you missed a hell of a game on Saturday, Eric. You would have had a lot of fun at the stadium, and so would you, Gilbert. You guys would have had one. Food was actually pretty good, by the way. I can't complain. They had tri-tip. They had lemon pepper wings. They had some good.
Nothing negative from the SoFi Stadium cafeteria. That's a rare day, Fernando.
I know. And you know what's crazy? So they had fried chicken at the beginning. They ran out and they put some spicy ass fried chicken. People were burning their mouths. Wow. So I thought that was actually pretty funny. But before we jump into some Charger talk, Eric, first off, what do you make of this?
Great. It felt like the music should be playing. I even thought I thought I heard music. Maybe it felt great. It felt great.
So that was Jim Harbaugh reacting to Justin Herbert being back at practice today. According to Daniel Popper of The Athletic, Justin did not have cleats on. He had running shoes or something like that. He did not have cleats, and I think they only did 7-on-7, no 11-on-11. So they're easing him back in. But Eric, this should be positive news for the Chargers, isn't it? That they have number 10 back.
Yeah, well, I guess the first thing I do is check, Harbaugh's Gatorade bottle to see what's going on there. And then the second thing I would say is it's obviously great news. I'm glad he heard music or whatever was going on with what's happening there at the practice facility. But I'm interested to see how they manage Herbert over the next 2 weeks, like in terms of his reps and how they ramp him up, and how they continue to kind of use Easton and Perez and other quarterbacks to kind of get ready for the season. But I would be interested to see, how Justin's moving over the next couple of weeks, and does he look kind of like his old self?
Eric, there is no other quarterbacks. It is now just Luis Perez, Easton Stick, and Justin Herbert.
That's right, because Max was cut, correct?
Yeah, he was cut today. So
and there was 3.
And then there was 3.
There should really be just one, because they are in trouble if Justin Herbert does not play a game. And
I told Gilbert, Easton Stick, if he is cut, he's gonna find a home.
Oh yeah, like you mentioned, Tom Telesco, who gave him that record of most inactive games with the same team and never get waived or cut. I don't know what the hell he did there to earn that record. I'm sure it's a record, Eric. I haven't looked into it, but the most inactive game streak, it's got to be from Easton Stick. It was like 4 years, right? Something like that.
Wow, that's pretty strong.
I don't know. I gotta look it up. But to get my points here, and first of all, if Harbaugh wants to hear music, you can play music during practice. Harbaugh, you don't like music apparently. When Herbert returns, he has to have some kind of like hallelujah and like a spotlight, go down on Justin Herbert.
Would have been awesome if that
you
happened.
Need him like that. You need the son of Odin to shout out Dan and Dago there. But I guess if everything falls on Herbert, like it kind of worries me a little bit. Like it kind of feels like a top-heavy team. You got to have everything right. You got to make sure this guy stays healthy, or you're screwed. But what can you do, Eric, at this point to get a backup, because it's so late in the game? People, I don't know if I'm going to believe it, but I was in Denver for my training camp tour, and everybody was hyping up Zach Wilson there. So maybe you go trade for Zach Wilson, or like Fernando mentioned, go get a DTR from Cleveland. Do you kind of search the trade market, or you just roll the dice like Harbaugh's kind of doing right now and say Herbert's going to be healthy? We'll worry about the rest later.
No, I definitely think during final roster cuts, you monitor the 31 other teams and see who might shake loose, who you can claim on waivers and add. And if they're better than what you have, which I think there's a good possibility of that happening, you bring them in, whether it's Zach Wilson or, somebody like Adrian Martinez that played in the UFL, was the MVP. It's competing for the third job with the Jets. There's a lot of names out there. Hundley, I think we've talked about him a little bit. PJ Walker competing for the third job with the Seahawks. I just think you look and try to, find what the best fit is in terms of maybe you get lucky and you find somebody that, is familiar with your scheme that can come in and be either a second or third guy. But ultimately, I think the Chargers are like most teams. Like if the starter goes down, you're probably in trouble. You probably don't have a chance to reach the postseason. If Mahomes goes down, do we think Carson Wentz is going to lead the Chiefs to the Super Bowl?
So I was going to say Fernando's high on Carson Wentz.
Well, Fernando's high on a lot of things. So I don't see Carson Wentz leading them to, the playoffs. Sorry.
Anybody, if you work with Sean McVay, Fernando's going to love that quarterback. That's all it is for him.
Baker, I told y'all Baker Mayfield last year, and look, if he were,
hyping up Sam Darnold too. Or
been watching Stetson Bennett in preseason.
No, I don't watch Stetson Bennett. Gilbert already knows my assessment of Stetson Bennett.
He's not good.
The way he prepares pregame for the game. I think he pregames a little too much. But no, I think being in that system, I think being with Sean McVay last year could have helped Carson. I think, but Andy Reid would just simplify and scheme around Carson and try and help him out. But I agree with what you're saying in that sense. So let's just say, in a weird world, they go with whoever is left on the team. I don't believe that's going to happen because I think Harbaugh's too smart. I think Huntley would probably be their best bet if we're going somebody off of that system because he's been on the Ravens before. He has that connection. Let's just say in a weird scenario, they're going to go with one of the two, Easton or Luis. What route would you kind of go with that?
I think it would be Easton just because he's familiar with Justin and familiar with the organization. And, I think it's important for the organization to have somebody in there that can help Justin prepare for the week. And Easton has done that, for several years. I think Louise would be better thrown into a game because he's played more football than Easton has played. When you look at how many reps he's gotten in the UFL, and obviously the UFL is not the NFL, but when you watch Louise in there, he's comfortable. He's throwing with anticipation. He has command of the huddle. He's getting guys where they need to be, even though he hasn't been running that offense for very long. The offense just seems to run smoother from my eyes watching Louise versus Easton. I think he's a more accurate quarterback too. I think he puts the ball where he needs to put it, and Easton is missing on a lot of throws. That said, I feel like Easton is a better athlete. And usually when your backup's in there, you have backup offensive linemen, and they're going to have to run around a little bit. I know when I covered Mike Holmgren, he used to always say he wanted a more athletic backup, and that's why he always had Seneca Wallace, because usually when your backup's in there, the legend of Iowa State before Brock Purdy or Seneca Wallace. Yeah. And so he always wanted a more athletic guy that could run around a little bit, because usually the protection was going to be very good and you needed some guy that could create. And so that kind of lends, to maybe Easton, being the guy that you can throw in there. But you also have to run your offense to fit his skill set. And I didn't really feel like Roman was doing that. I did feel like he did that last week.
Yep.
You saw more called runs. You saw more, movement of the pocket. And you saw some bubble screens and some short stuff to kind of give Easton some confidence, which I think helped him.
He had that one drive until you fumbled the 1 yard line. But that was a good drive overall.
It was a good drive.
just keep the ball. Just keep the ball, Easton.
He didn't finish, unfortunately.
Let me ask you real quick, Eric. Just don't you feel like maybe the UFL should be something that teams can send their backup quarterbacks to? I mean, they would get the reps. Yeah, maybe they get hurt, but you could just, in a sense, you could go get another guy. But I feel like maybe that's where the UFL and the NFL should kind of partner up, where they send their backups. And not everybody's going to want to send their backups, but you send a guy like Easton to go get those reps that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. You go send NFL guys that you think, oh, that's my backup. But you know what? Maybe being in the spring ball, maybe that'll help them kind of elevate and get those reps. Do you feel like maybe that's something that the NFL should be doing and teams?
I think they're working towards that. I think ultimately the UFL would like to get to that point, kind of like we have with NFL Europe, and you saw guys like Kurt Warner and John Kitna. They were still with their teams, but they would go play in NFL Europe and get those reps, and it really helped kind of them ascend in terms of their development. So we may see that, in 4 to 5 years. I think ultimately they want those franchises to be bought by, people within those markets, ownership groups. And then they'd like the NFL to be involved and be able to send guys down and get those reps and still have their rights, and they could come back up and play for their whatever teams they belong to.
Hey, Eric, I'm up for getting Adrian Martinez with the Chargers. You get an Adrian Martinez and a Luis Perez, man. A lot of Latino names there in the quarterback room for the Chargers. Bring them in there.
You go. Eric, moving on now to the other team that you have covered in the past and still do. The LA Rams, they seem to have the injuries just seem to be mounting up. Matthew Stafford did return to practice, I believe,
today.
Yep. He returned to practice today. Just what are you making? Are they in trouble with all these injuries? Do you think some of them are just, hey, the season's coming up, let's just hold you back a little bit? Kind of the way it seems like Harbaugh's kind of handling it, where it's like, hey, you feel something, just sit out, relax. Or what are you making of all these injuries?
No, I think it's exactly what you just said. I think most of them are minor, and they just want to make sure that those guys stay healthy for the start of this season. I think that's what they're doing with Puka. Jonah Jackson actually returned to practice and did some individual work. He's been dealing with a shoulder issue. I believe the 2 tackles have ankle issues, but I think they're minor, and they're hopeful that both those guys can get back. Alaric Jackson, left tackle, and Havestein, the right tackle. I believe those are the main ones. I think Ernest Jones has been out too, the middle linebacker. I can't remember Ernest's injury, but I think the thought is that he's going to be back for week 1 as well. So I think, when you're dealing with McVay, he's all about guys getting to week 1 healthy. He doesn't play his starters during preseason. He will give him some run during joint practice. But if there's any kind of possibility that something could be made worse by getting out there, he's going to err on the side of caution and hold guys out. And that's why he held Matthew out with the hamstring issue. He just was being extra cautious.
Eric, I think we asked you maybe a month ago how you felt about the Rams, and I think it felt like you're okay with them, being a wild card team or maybe getting 10 wins. Now a month later, thinking about the injuries, thinking about Matthew Stafford's contract dilemma. It feels like it's one more year, and then let's see how it goes, or we'll just break up and go our separate ways. Sometimes that could be a little concerning when you have some kind of drama behind the scenes. And also the big thing that I feel like a lot of people are overlooking, or maybe you're not, but the Aaron Donald thing, like how do you adjust without Aaron Donald? And also, can you have some guys step up in the secondary and stay healthy? You got some older guys there. Like I keep going back and forth. Like I like the Rams one day I don't. And then I see a bunch of injuries happening, and then I see guys coming back, and I'm like, okay, maybe they'll be fine. But I guess for you, how do you feel maybe a month or less for the season?
Daniel's not a fan of the Rams going into this season, by the way.
No surprise.
We talked about that.
Oh, okay. Is that in the book?
That'll be in the book, yes. Be a lot of 4-letter words that can't be printed. I know you mentioned the Aaron Donald thing, but I actually think they look okay up front when you watch them. When you watch Kobe Turner and Byron Young and Braden Fisk, who they drafted in the second round, and Jared Verse, they look like they can get after the quarterback. I would be interested to see how they stop the run, because I do think at times in that joint practice, the Cowboys were able to run the ball on them.
Yep.
And so, I think that's a concern. Their front seven and being able to consistently stop the run without Donald there. And then I still have concern with the cornerbacks, with those guys being a little bit older and how they're going to hold up for the duration of the season. I feel like the Rams, their starters are pretty good, but I don't know about the depth behind those starters. And like you talked about, and I think that's why they're being really cautious about, starters getting dinged up and not getting them out there, is because they know their depth behind them is not as good. So if they lose those guys, particularly Stafford, if Stafford is done, I mean, I love Jimmy G, but I don't see that, happening for them being a 10-11 win team if Stafford's not able to play a bulk of the season.
Hey, Fernando's going to like Jimmy G in a year after he goes to the Sean McVay school of quarterbacks. He goes somewhere else. He's going to love Jimmy G.
I don't know about all that. By the way, I did like what Jimmy G did that day that we were at practice, Gilbert.
I know you did. You kept talking about it.
Yeah. I told you about that, right?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I don't know about Eric.
Oh, there was a interesting fan that was in the stands, and the fan asked, "Can you sign my son's stuff?" She's like, "Jimmy," or the person was like, "Jimmy." He turns, looks, and then kind of looks, and then double takes and goes, "Oh, I got you." After practice, he goes, "That's the only person that he signed her, or whoever it was, the individuals."
Just say it was a hot mom, Fernando. That's okay.
Yeah. No, she was. Yeah,
it's
no,
easy on the eyes, huh?
Yeah. So he signed his stuff and then walked away. I was like, God bless Jimmy G.
He did it for the kid. Come on, Fernando.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, he did a great job, a great service. It's all about them kids. But Eric, could this be a situation of you keep the picks, or do you think the Rams may be close? Like if they have the okay from Aaron Donald about, hey, if you guys are close, we'll come back. I'll come back. Do you think this could be a situation of F them picks, or do you feel like this could be like Sean McVay for the future wants to keep his picks and keep on building this team? Especially with the NFC is kind of has a question mark. It seems like the AFC has like the upper echelon, the middle of the pack, stuff like that. It feels like the NFC is kind of the 49ers have dominated it for the last few years, but it feels like it's more open.
I think the Rams are about winning. And so whatever is best for, putting together a team that can win a Super Bowl, I think they're willing to do it. So I think if they get to a deadline and they need an impact player like they did in the past a couple of years ago by bringing Von Miller in, and they think that will put them over the top, I think they would move picks to do that if they believe that they have a shot of winning a Super Bowl and they're a player or two away. I don't think they are a player or two away, but I don't think this organization is concerned about taking risk, if they believe that there's a payoff there at the end. I think Gil could speak to that because he covered the Rams as well, and has seen how they've done transactions in order to put themselves in position to be successful.
Even the whole Stafford situation where they wouldn't give him another extension because they want to keep their options open because they like to be flexible and make moves whenever the opportunity comes up for them. But to move on, Fernando, hopefully you don't mind if I take over this one, or you want to ask something else?
No, I just wanted to ask you one real quick. When he traded for Matthew Stafford, him and Matthew Stafford were at the same resort, right? And Jared, like Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford were at the same resort, and then obviously Goff was wherever the hell he was. Was that true?
Coincidence.
No, that was true. I think they were in Cabo. Just coincidence.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, coincidence. All right, my bad. Go ahead, Gilbert. Take it over.
Yeah, we're talking about the NFC landscape here, and maybe like a two-parter for the 49ers, Eric, here. We saw your story on Brandon Ayuk and the 49ers. You want them to get a deal done. Do you think that deal gets done this week? I thought it was going to happen last week. It was like, hey, he's going to go to the Steelers. Actually, no, they're going to work out a deal with the 49ers, and just been silent since then. And then my second part, obviously I feel like if you have Ayuk, I think it's still Super Bowl or bust. Do you feel like they could finally get all the way if they get Ayuk in there?
Wait, Ayuk's not on the Steelers? Because I've seen multiple people tweet out that it's a done deal. This is done. It's been
a mess, man.
I've seen a lot of people do it. I'm just saying.
It has been all over the place. I do feel like this is the week to get it done in order to kind of get him back on the field and start ramping up his activity. So when you get to week 1, you feel like you can get the most out of him. You also have to deal with the Trent Williams issue. He wants more money because of the left tackle market, kind of going past where he's at. And he still feels like he's 36 years old. So you have to kind of figure out how you want to manage that. I would think if you're the 49ers and they have a bunch of cap space going in this year, maybe it makes sense to go ahead and give him some guaranteed money, sprinkle some sugar on his deal for this year. And then if he wants to retire at the end of this year, or if he wants to move on, then you can kind of have a backup plan to figure out, what you're going to do beyond the 2024 season. I think you're all in for this year for the Niners. You do whatever it takes to put the best roster available so that you can go ahead and win a Super Bowl, because nobody's going to care about, whether you gave Ayuk $35 million a year or you gave Williams a gang of money. Like, nobody's going to care about that if you win the chip. But if you don't, and you didn't do those things, then you're going to be criticized that you weren't all in. So I think you really need to figure out the Ayuk situation. He is their number one receiver. He is the guy that Purdy looks to in critical situations to get things done. And nobody on that roster can do what Ayuk does on the perimeter. So he's unique. And, the market is the market. It's their fault that they allowed the market to get that far. They could have signed Ayuk in February and it would have been a lot cheaper than it's going to be now.
Let me ask you something. And we're talking to Eric D. Williams of Fox Sports. Eric, how do I put this? Brock Purdy and the preseason game, are you concerned at all about that? Or is it kind of like we'll see what happens during the regular season? But one of those interceptions was just, I was very surprised he threw that. Is there a little bit of concern in your mind that the 49ers should have in him? Or do you feel like, it's preseason, we'll see what happens during the regular season?
No, I think there's concern. You watched them play and it wasn't great. I know a lot of the starters weren't in there, but the decision making wasn't what you're used to seeing from Brock, in terms of, getting the ball on time, or if he doesn't see it the way that he needs to see it, just throw the ball away. I felt like he was trying to really force the action when he didn't need to. And so, it is concerning. And the reports that you've been hearing from training camp that he's been throwing a lot of interceptions. Again, I know he's trying things and he's trying to see where he can fit balls in certain windows and trying to give guys opportunities to see what they can do. But it was a little concerning just watching him play. And I know it's preseason and all that, but a lot of times what you see in preseason can be what you end up seeing in the regular season.
What you just said makes me think that I'm waiting for a shoot and a dog on it after that, just because it sounded a little similar to what somebody else used to say. Eric, 2 more quickly, and we will get you out of here. We appreciate you jumping on with us. You are the man with the plan, so we appreciate you. Could the Broncos be a sleeper with Bo Nix, or is it also preseason? Let's wait and see what happens during the regular season.
Yeah, I'm gonna pump the brakes on the Bo Nix hype. I need to see that during the regular
Okay.
season. I mean, I like him as a player, and I know Sean Payton have a lot of respect for him as an offensive guru. But I mean, we're kind of gassing him up here a little bit. Like, let's see what he does in the regular season when defenses are actually game planning for him. And I know he's an athletic guy, but let's see him do that against starters, against a real defense that's trying to get after him. So I do think they have a chance to maybe surprise some folks, but he's not Joe Burrow. I mean, let's be easy there.
Eric, he starts off at Seahawks, Steelers come there, at Buccaneers, at Jets. Even the Raiders going there is going to be tough. Chargers.
We're going to find out early, right?
At Saints, Panthers, and then at Ravens, at Chiefs, Falcons. Yeah, I know that.
Gil, are you a believer?
I do.
You were there, right?
Yeah, I do like Bo Nix, but I'm glad that you said let's pump the brakes because, and I'll give you some stories. I won't name names here, but it was a very, I guess, well attended day because I went during the joint scrimmage against the Packers. So there was a lot of people there. And I kid you not, there was a lot of like, whoa, amazing throw. Oh my, you can't believe what I just saw. And I'm like, it was just a quick throw to the middle to Cortland Sutton. It was I think maybe Tim Patrick had to jump up to get it. He got it. They completed it. These are nice plays. He has good rhythm, good timing, but it's not Patrick Mahomes throwing behind his back passes. It's like, let's tone it down. But, he is confident. And the one thing that's really concerning me, and I don't think it's a confidence thing, he is reading the field well with the defenses, but he rushes a lot of throws, a lot of overthrows. Like when people were losing their mind for that, just the pass down the middle to Cortland Sutton, the next play he overthrew a wide open. I forget the tight end's name there. I'm like, nobody wants to tweet about that. No, that's not that. It was like a third string. I think number 86. I'm blanking on his name. But nobody wants to tweet about that. Like he's gonna have his highs and lows. And the one thing that I like that Sean Payton is doing, it's a lot of quick throws, a lot of outlet passes, safety nets, and it's like, you know what? He has a timing. He has a good tempo, and I think Sean Payton threw a little jab at Russell Wilson when he said, "Hey, our quarterback with time and the tempo so much better than last year." So at least he's doing that.
Can't help himself.
I know, but at least he's doing that to run his offense the way he wants to. But you're right, Eric. You got to watch it in the preseason. You got to, sometimes these safety nets won't be there for you, and maybe when you got the training wheels on, Sean Payton gets frustrated very quickly if you're not able to push a little bit down the field. But I think they're a little underrated. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but I have them winning maybe. I think it's the over under is like 5.5 wins. 6 or 7 wins seems right because I think it's year 2 for Payton. You got guys that you like fit your scheme. And a funny story, Eric and Fernando. I'm like, okay, I see guys who fit the scheme. So that means maybe less pressure to make the roster. Is some core guys here. Maybe Sean Payton is less of a hard ass. And I asked Javonte Williams, like, hey, like, is it more laid back? He's like, hell no, man. Like, this guy's just joking around for the camera. He's still tough on everybody. So he's trying to make sure these guys are ready and fit the scheme. So we all know Sean Payton is a hard ass.
2 things quickly. One, can Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick stay healthy? They haven't been able to in any year. So that's going to be interesting. And second, don't sleep on the Mile High City MILF Hunter now.
Hey, Fernando. You gotta like those reviews from Zach Wilson. I think Javonte and Mintz were saying it's like the best arm they've seen ever, but they also been in Denver for a bit,
Well, yeah, they're high off of multiple things.
And they've been there with some bad quarterbacks last year. How about that?
Exactly.
Marijuana is legal in Colorado.
It is.
I smelled it everywhere, by the way.
By the way, did anybody give you, Gilbert, a Broncos country let's ride? Nothing?
No, I was hoping maybe Bo Nix or Zach Wilson will carry on, but no. But
he hasn't come out with anything for the Steelers, has he?
I don't think so, and you shouldn't after the way you've played the last 2 years. But yeah.
No, he should. Last thing, Eric, before we let you go, what is your thought on what Tua Tagovailoa said today on the Dan Le Batard show?
That you shouldn't be here. That this guy should be here, that you haven't earned this right. And then you have somebody else come in and tell you, dude, you are the best fit for this. Like, you are accurate. You are the best whatever. You are this. You are that. Like, how would it make you feel listening to one or the other? You see what I'm saying? And then you hear it, regardless of what it is, the good or the bad. And you hear it more and more. You start to actually believe that.
Eric, how do you feel listening to that, Eric? How do you feel? Because he feels a certain kind of way. How do you feel?
I think he's on that Drake. That's what I think.
He likes soft music. How about that?
Stop listening to Sade. I mean, look, it is what it is. I mean, we know that, right? Because we saw what happened. So all he has to do is just go look at my highlights from last year and then look how I played and just call it good. Like, I don't feel like he needed to like voice that in my opinion. I mean, we know what happened. We know that he's where he comes from, and it wasn't a good fit. So you don't need to like, sit down with Barbara Streisand and air it all out. I don't need to hear that.
And there's two sides to every story, Eric.
Right. And Flores isn't gonna say anything. Yeah. I mean, so I respect that. So just hey, look at how I'm playing. Keep it moving.
Yeah, he might have came in all high and mighty and be a number 5 pick winning a natty in Alabama, and Flores was just trying to tone it down. That's it,
Like, you can't tell me that Nick Saban didn't shove his foot up his ass or anything, or maybe he wasn't around too long to hear it, because he came in for 8 seconds, won the championship, then the next year had that hip injury. So maybe he wasn't all that much around, but still, I was just really surprised, especially from what we heard from Tom Brady in like January, saying, yeah, this next generation's really soft. They don't like getting yelled at. They don't like people in their ear. So it's like, damn, you're really hearing the difference between two different generations of quarterback. Eric, before we let you go real quick, will Tom Brady play this season for any NFL team? Yes or no?
That's a no, man, because he's getting a lot of zeros.
Devontae Adams keeps on throwing it out there. He's thrown it out on 3 or 4 different.
Getting a lot of zeros to be on TV, and I think he's probably pretty happy.
Can you imagine if he's narrating a Raiders game and Devontae just throws his helmet and Tom's like, "I'll be right back." He just comes out with the helmet. He goes in there, throws a couple of touchdowns. And man, I'm telling you, the NFL is more like WWE than you all think. I'm just saying. But
I think Devontae would be happy about that.
I think he would, but we are happy. We're happy. Thank you so much, Eric. That was a great time spending time with you. We'll have you on again during the regular season. We love you. You are the best. Dan's going to be very upset that he missed you jumping on the show, but anything you want to say to him?
Good luck to his Saints this year.
Oh, there you go. We appreciate that, Eric. Thank you so much, people. That was Eric D. Williams. Thank you so much, Eric. That was awesome. Gilbert, thoughts on anything? What stood out to you the most?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but Eric and I and yourself, Fernando, I feel like we're all on the same page. And every now and then you want like a hot argument and a big debate there, but I like what I said about I do like what I've seen from Bo Nix, just to kind of get a couple steps forward. But yes, tone it down. It feels like everybody wants a quarterback. Like all of a sudden, this 2024 NFL quarterback class is as good as 2020. Like, relax. It's been 2 preseason games, but people want to hype them up already, crown them already. Obviously, we're on the same page with Minshew there, all of us. I think that was our pick to go into training camp. Obviously the Chargers need to have Justin Herbert healthy. And I think that's really good news, by the way, Fernando, that he's already back and practicing to kind of, hey, there's the flames out. Don't worry. And Harbaugh's kind of been taking some heat from some reporters, maybe yourself. I don't know. About, hey, go have a backup plan. What's going to happen to Herbert?
That happened to me on Saturday. I asked him, hey, what went into the decision of playing Luis Perez instead of Max Dugan? He goes, coach's decision. Tyler Dragon laughing his ass off at me because I did that. I was like, Jesus. By the way, okay, so funny enough, we need to get Tyler on. He has some good stories from the Olympics.
I am down.
I was telling him we do want to get him on.
I want to ask him about the Noah Lyles Tyreek Hill debate.
Oh, he has some good stuff on that. By the way, real quick, Anthony Edwards just revealed that Steph, him, and KD could not celebrate the gold medal after the game because they had needed to be drug tested right after. So that's actually pretty.
Wow, that kind of
That's
sucks,
actually
but-
pretty funny. DZ, I would take that smoke from Jim. The other day he caught me like we had eye contact together, and he like looks at me, and then he goes, "Oh, okay." So yeah, no,
it's been fun seeing the beat reporters and Harbaugh go at it in year one.
It's like an Olympic
trying
sport.
to set the tone, yeah, especially
like
with him, get him talk.
Yeah. So I asked him, I'm like, Nick, I don't know if Jesse Minter would want to be a head coach. It sounds like Gilbert spoke to him, and it sounded like he's in it with Jim till they win a ring.
Yeah, Nick, put it this way: like, if he doesn't get a head coaching job, he is not going anywhere else. He loves Jim Harbaugh. He's worked with John Harbaugh, and I don't think he was choosing between the two brothers, but he pretty much flat out said there's no other head coach I'd rather be with, and I think that says a lot about Jim Harbaugh.
So in one of those, what's up, Jorge? In one of those,
you're late.
Tyler comes up to me and he goes, "Hey." He's like, I was like, when'd you get in? He's like, Thursday. I was like, Thursday, and you're here? He's like, I'm jet lagged. And I'm like, bro,
He's
I'm like,
wild. The preseason game too.
You're here. So he said he was out there in France for a while. So Gilbert, out there in France and everything, like that's where Louis Vuitton and all that stuff comes from. So it's a lot cheaper than it is out here. And then whatever you pay in taxes, you get your money back at the airport. So say that like
really
you paid like $1,000 for the person, like 700 and like $200 were in taxes, you get those $200 back when you
at the airport
leave. Yeah, at the airport. You just have to have your passport with you, your plane ticket and everything. Oh, it's a thing of beauty. So
I'm not spending $1,000 for a purse, I'll tell you that.
No shit. He spent a lot of money. He was like, yeah, bro. He's like, so his wife went out there. No, not just in general. His wife went out there, his son.
That's cool. That's awesome.
His parents, I think maybe her parents. And he was telling me that they all spent a week out there and everything. And what was my point? Oh, so he tells me, hey, this game's gonna be a little whack. Can you want to come over and talk to me? I talked to him for a whole half. He's like, bro, I swear to God, you made that way more entertaining than it should have been. Because I kept on narrating things, like I was saying things to him. And so he was just having a ball. But yeah, I told him, I was like, hey, we need to get you on. He's like, bro, you let me know. And we got you. So where did you say Louis Vuitton is cheaper? Jorge, in Paris, because it comes from out there. So all that stuff is a lot cheaper in Europe. That's why nobody, like a lot of people don't buy them here. They wait till they go over there. If they go over there, they buy them over there and then they bring them back. But the only thing is they don't let you bring a high quantity back because they don't want you selling them out here. Oh, no. That's if you go to China, Singapore, and all that, they don't let you bring those fake ones out over here.
Oh, yeah, from Timo and Wish.
Hey, you know what? DZ's onto something. Watch out, Nike. Louis Vuitton going to be the next sponsor of the NFL Uni. That actually would be
pretty cool.
Would be interesting. All right, Gilbert, let's go over to UFC 305. Obviously, Combat Compas. We love combat sports. A lot of stuff going on, right? Well, it's a little bit of a lull, but this was actually a pretty fun fight to watch. I was actually on my way back from Chargers. I put it on my phone. Dante was the one kind of giving me the Dante Lascano, or our compa. He was giving me the play-by-play analysis. And he's like, "Ese deportes para ay cabrón," and then I just started laughing. He's like, "Okay," he's like,
"That was not an MMA fan, huh?"
Yeah, no, he's not. But he's like, "Okay, I'll give it credit." Like he's like, "Damn,"
he's like, "Oh,
yeah, I know." I was just laughing.
Chingazos, okay.
I know he was about to start off with saying something, and then he went, "Oh," but obviously, a lot made of DDP and Israel Adesanya going into it. In the past, DDP said, "Oh, you're not really. I'm more of an African than you are." There's been a lot of back and forth.
He's white, by the way. You don't know.
Yeah, exactly, from South Africa. So there's been a lot of stuff between both of them. It seemed like they kind of squashed that beef after the fight, which is pretty typical. But that was another thing Dante didn't like. He's like, "No, like no, not miss." He's like,
I was surprised because DDP kind of went a little too far there.
Yeah, he made him cry during the press conference.
I didn't even see that. Wow. Okay.
Oh yeah. So Israel Adesanya started crying. Yeah. So
and then hearing stories from Adam, who covers UFC, Adam Hill covers UFC daily. I'm like, man, this guy has no boundaries here. So he's been pushing the whole African thing. So when they actually did embrace, I was surprised. But I do like that people could separate business, selling pay-per-views. Obviously, there's maybe a limit, but in combat sports, there's more. You could get away with stuff there. So that was surprising.
In the NFL.
Yeah, it's a different game. But
Well, yeah,
Fernando's,
because you have a coach, you have teammates. You don't want one guy
individual,
making the
and
whole team
and
pay
you also
for it.
you're all macho and you can handle it, which I
Yeah,
guess
love
Izzy
it.
cried. But go
I
ahead,
don't, I,
Fernando. Set up the question. My bad.
I don't
Cut
know
you
if
off.
Tua could be in the UFC.
Yeah, Brian Flores would not be in his corner.
Exactly. We should do that. Brian Flores versus Tua Tagovailoa. That'd be a good match. So obviously DDP beat Adesanya with a chokehold in the fourth round. I thought at that point Izzy actually looked like, wow, okay, he was kind of hanging in there. And then like he said, I made one bad move and I kind of paid for it. So DZ said, well, in my DNA test, I have 2% African, so I'm pretty bad.
DZ and DDP are the same
Yeah,
DNA.
exactly. So Gilbert, just what were your thoughts on the match between DDP and Israel?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty balanced fight for the most part, but you could always tell that DDP had a little more pop there and he had the bigger shots, but he was tired quickly. He was very gassed. It was smart that he was going to the ground because that is not Adesanya's game. So maybe he got a little more tired going to the ground, trying to take him down. And to his credit, he did do it. And, obviously it worked out at the end in the fourth round, but I don't know where he got this energy because he was just breathing hard. And then whenever he popped them, which was at a lower rate, you could tell he was rocking them. So there was a power difference. And this is where I thought maybe the questions about him retiring were gonna happen if he lost, because he doesn't have the same pop anymore. Izzy, at one point, Izzy was a hard striker who was a well-rounded striker because he has a kicking game, the kickboxing. He wasn't the most powerful. He wasn't Alex Pereira, but to see DDP rock him and then him not able to throw back at the same level was a little concerning, but it was at a high rate. He's a very polished, accurate striker, and he still had that. But man, I think the chin is gone, Fernando. He got rocked a couple times, but he was like in the zone, breathing well. He still had his routine, and DDP is coming out after every round, and then popped him a couple of times, brought him down, and then in the fourth round, he rocked him with 3 punches. I think one to the side of the ear, and that really made Izzy kind of, run back, and he was a little wobbly, and then he caught him, brought him down, boom. And I'm not a fighter, but the chokehold was on there for half a second, and Adesanya was like, I am not going to deal with this. He has it on tight. I am out. So maybe part of the reason why he was okay to embrace DDP, like you had to eat the crap because also you lost. It's you can't be like, oh no, man, I hate you, and you said mean things, and you beat me. So I think at some point you kind of eat it. I do respect that Adesanya did that, and Adesanya, I do like that DDP also gave Adesanya his flowers for such an amazing career, and he's right. He did so much for MMA because at one point when we all waited for Conor McGregor to come back and he wasn't going to come back. Who was the guy main eventing these pay-per-views, being the star? Izzy was really saving it the same way that Alex Pereira is doing it right now. So he did have a 2-3 year stretch where he was just a big star. So shout out to DDP for highlighting that and the presser. But I was a little surprised that he decided to say, you know what, I won't retire. But who wants to go like that, right?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with all of that, and especially because he said I'm not going anywhere, so he's definitely excited about coming back. What do you think is? So obviously, two-parter. Alex Pereira. Well, no, I'll go with. What do you think? Is it Strickland for DDP?
It seems like it, and like you said too, Fernando, that you thought Strickland won that fight, or at least it was close, controversial. Why not go back and make it a decisive victory? Maybe you choke him out too, or maybe you get a knockout. Like DDP is not like, he's a good champion, but he's not like unbeatable. He's not on this pound for pound list. So I would like to see Strickland, for Strickland, a guy who talks a lot, hopefully doesn't see this because he does talk a lot. He's a little timid of a fighter, but he's more of timing, counter. And DDP is not like that. He's like I don't know. You open up the cage, the animal's gonna come out and just go at you. And that's why he's always breathing so hard. So it's a good fight there. But I think Strickland doesn't throw enough. And maybe if he did, maybe you could catch him a little bit. But it'll be a good fight. And like you mentioned, Fernando, it was close enough to give us a rematch.
What do you think about Alex Pereira and Khalil Roundtree?
It's getting to a point where they can't find opponents for the guy. And at one point, I thought if Adesanya won the title and beat DDP, maybe he goes up, maybe Alex comes down. Let's do it again. Like I like that. I like the what is it, trilogy or 4 fights, 5 fights? Who knows? But I was down for one more, and now I don't. and then they have him going to Salt Lake City. I'm telling you, man, like Conor McGregor's not around. They need Alex to start saving these promotions here. You know, they already used Sean O'Malley for what's it called? No, I was gonna say Noche Buena, but Noche UFC. So you got, and they're working on, man. We've covered like 3 fights with Alex involved. I know, without Mexicans. So it's a terrible fight. He's gonna win, but he's gonna headline a pay-per-view.
Could that be his last fight of 2024?
I don't know, dude. He might come back in December and fight again.
Because Dana White tweeted or said in the press conference, like, yeah, Conor's not coming back this year. And then Conor tweeted out, no, I want December. December is my date.
I believe Dana more than I believe Conor. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So lastly, before we get off of UFC, Alex Pereira said he wants to fight DDP at 185, and DDP replied he'd said he'd come up to 205 to fight Pereira for his belt. They both seem like they want a chance at the 180 at being a double champion. Which one do you think is more likely to happen?
One more time, DDP and who else?
And Alex Pereira.
And you're saying DDP will go up to challenge him? I like the cojones on DDP, but it's you're asking for a lot of trouble there, especially going up to his weight class. I could definitely, and like I mentioned, I think he's a good fighter. He's not elite, but I think Alex will definitely have his way with him. But honestly, I'm all about heavyweight for him eventually, Fernando. I think you are too.
Yeah, no, I definitely would love to see that. Especially, we need to get this this Tom Aspinall, John Jones, all this. We need to get that all resolved. By the way, and Little Daniel's been giving me crap about it, but I actually like that John Jones is thinking about going with what's his name? Who's that guy that they've been trying to set up that fight for years?
Stipe Miocic.
Stipe, there you go. I'm okay with him going with Stipe. Why do you want to jump in with Aspinall right off the bat? Jump in, try and do a warm up with Stipe, and then go fight.
Have Aspinall fight Alex, and then the winner could fight John Jones. Why not?
Okay, but there you go. But what I'm saying is that John Jones needs. He
does. So maybe it's smart. It's without saying it. He's saying, "Hey, this guy owes it. I owe it to him."
By the way, that fight has to be in Vegas. Why? Oh, regardless, I would want to go to whatever. If he beats Aspinall, I have to be there because I want to see Dana White's reaction. If John Jones beats Aspinall, like he's gonna come in there.
Oh yeah,
and he's gonna kick his feet up on the table and be like, "What did I tell you guys?" Like, I know something.
Well, they haven't announced the Madison Square Garden card.
They have not.
I think they're eyeing that for John Jones, but maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know, but I would By the way, Gilbert, right now, good news. Dr. Florio tweeted this out. Good news! You can buy Sunday ticket via the Apple App Store. Bad news! It costs $679. Worst news: with Red Zone, it costs $739. So
isn't it cheaper on YouTube TV?
Yeah.
Who's gonna pay $700 on Apple?
I don't know. If you have a college student, which you do, Gilbert, you can get that for $20 a month.
That makes me wonder. Oh, that's good. You go take advantage. I'm not gonna go take advantage of a student's profile account. Don't take advantage of a student. Sorry, I stopped myself in the middle of that sentence. Ryan Garcia will get me. But that makes me wonder because I do have YouTube TV, so I don't know the difference. You know, if you have YouTube TV, you get a cheaper rate than the ones that don't buy it, which 700 sounds like a lot. This is why people are suing them.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Gilbert, let's go really quick to WWE. I'll talk a little bit about what's going on lately. So Roman Reigns, man, the fans have really gotten behind him, and they've been showing him the love. They love that dude. Everybody's excited about him being back. The interesting part is that he kind of got written off of television for a bit. He got beat up by so in a sense, like everybody, all these reporters had said, "Oh, Jacob Fatu's not coming back." They want to keep him and Roman away from each other, and it seems like Triple H had said, "F you, Dave Meltzer," and had Jacob come out on Friday. And he beat up Roman, and it was a good one. Like, he beat him up really well. And now everybody's waiting to see what happens. Roman probably won't come back until he won't be back till September 13th when they do the what's it called? when they switch over to the USA Network. So
that was strange to me, Fernando. Like you go from a more eyeballs on Fox to USA, which they've been there a lot, I think, for Raw and all that. But
I think
like a downgrade.
SmackDown is gonna move over to Netflix. I think they're gonna test it out with Raw, and if Raw does really well, they're gonna be like, "Oh,
that makes more sense
over there." Because if and by the way, I heard an interview with God, who was it? Somebody said that they're not gonna force the cursing, the this, the that it's gonna be all
natural,
tasteful, natural. Yeah, exactly. Because you don't want to force any of that. But
and I'm asking another question: is it going to cost more on Netflix to get Raw?
I don't know. I think it's going to be included, just like with Peacock. I think it's going to be included.
Right.
Paul Heyman was at Fanatics in New York. By the way, Gilbert, I think we need to go next year.
It sounded like it was a big deal.
Like it was pretty cool. So Paul Heyman came out and spoke about when he's going to return, and then the bloodline and everything. This is a clip from a fan, so we'll be okay.
You don't know if or when the wise man will return. You don't know who El Solo may or may not have in his back pocket ready to debut. You don't know what our moves, what Roman Reigns' moves, what my moves, what anybody's moves can be. All you know is that Roman Reigns is back. He's back to reclaim the title of Tribal Chief from Solo, and Solo has so much backup right now that Roman's in deep trouble.
It was pretty glorious to see Paul Heyman back, even though obviously. Oh, by the way, hold on, Vic. My bad. You don't have to put that up. Oh, yeah, you don't put it up. So this when Paul Heyman first came out, listen. This was pretty funny.
Fuck you, Solo! Fuck you, Solo! If you're gonna whisper it like that, don't bother saying it. If you're gonna say it with some passion, damn it.
It got worse. Okay. There you go.
That was just.
Hey, where was this Fanatics event, by the way?
So Fanatics was a bunch of they basically got a bunch of people like athletes to go. Like Peyton Manning was there.
I saw Mommy out there, and I wanted to go out there. So
I know. So they had a bunch of people out, a bunch of athletes, a bunch of athletes.
I did see Peyton Manning, by the way, in Denver. He walked by.
He did. By the way, I have not told Dan and Dago about that. I'm hoping that when he comes back, he listens to Peyton Manning say his top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
I think he'll be very excited.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So they had a bunch of people out there, and you would pay to sign autographs. They had autographs signed, take a picture, and everything. The only athletes that sold out was WWE. So it was kind of like a wrestling con. Like they had the entrances. They had a bunch of different things there. So it seemed like it was a great event. Like I hadn't seen anything like that. So I was I thought it was pretty cool. The way that,
we got to find out where it is next year.
Yeah. They'll probably have it in New York again, but I thought it was actually pretty cool to see what they did with the whole event. But Solo and everybody, or what the WWE right now is doing with Roman is just it really is glorious. Like they've brought him back. Everybody loves him. Everybody is seeing what he's doing, and they're kind of waiting to see what the WWE what they do. By the way, even Tom Brady, I hope I don't get hit for this one. Even Tom Brady went over to the WWE. Remember at in Philly, they had like an entrance thing. Even Tom Brady did it.
Really? Hulk Hogan? Come on. He is old, though.
I thought that was pretty funny, to be honest. I was like, wow, that's actually a really good one. But obviously, going back to the aspect of it, I think Roman is setting himself up for a good run. A lot of people are saying, hey, you haven't seen anything yet. Like, it's only going to get better from now. So, obviously, we haven't heard anything from The Rock. There's also some cousins down there in some of the other lower wrestling tiers that are making their way up. So there could be more there could be more stuff. Oh, that's actually a good one, Nestor. That's actually a really good one. So
Final boss.
Yeah, exactly. Jorge, if you missed it, just when this is over, go back and watch it. It was a really good interview. We'll have a video out also tomorrow with the full Eric Williams video for anybody that missed it. But yeah, Gilbert, I think they're in a good place with Roman. I think SmackDown kind of needs him, especially with some of the other wrestlers kind of missing right now due to injury. Seth Rollins is going to be out for a while, Gilbert. They wrote him off of TV. They're saying he won't be back till about the Royal Rumble. So yeah, exactly. The company is going to go up from here. Triple H is doing a good job. Going back to the that's the Roman aspect. Now at the Bash in Berlin, it's going to be Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest versus Liv and Dominic Mysterio. And I just want to say that in that match, Dom and Liv have to win that match. Everybody knows what Priest is. Everybody knows what Rhea Ripley is. Dom, you still have question marks about. And then Liv, people are still kind of like, is she a legit champ? I think they're both over. Like, I had never seen somebody go from a heel to an even bigger heel. Like, Dom was already hated and booed. Now it's getting even worse. And that's why, Gilbert, when I wrote in January, he's the biggest heel in WWE, you can't name me another heel. Even Drew McIntyre, you can't name him as a heel because there's a lot of people that cheer him. When I was in San Diego, the only people that were cheering for him were sitting right in front of me, and that's because they were friends of Dominic Mysterio. So everybody's booing him. I think Dom is so over. Again, I still do think that I think they should put a championship on him, whether it's tag team or something else. But I think Liv and Dom need to win this match. But I love their feud. I think their feud is amazing. By the way, Dom was on Impulsive with Logan Paul. Jake Paul. I listened to the whole Logan Paul. I listened to the whole thing. Dom is a very interesting dude, and I've interviewed him twice, and I thought he's an interesting guy. He's funny. He's like, the night that I kissed Liv, I got a text from my wife saying, "Hey, there's a spider in our garage. Like, we need to do something about this." And I just started laughing. He's like, my wife doesn't care. She knows it's work. She knows that I need to separate my work and my real life, and my work life and my real life. He's like, the funniest part is that Rhea and my wife met for the first time at WrestleMania in LA. And I was kind of like, damn, my work wife and my real wife are meeting. How is this going to be? And he said it was the best thing, that they were great with each other. So that was actually pretty funny. But yeah, I really enjoy. I think both of the biggest feuds in WWE right now are Solo and Roman, and Rhea, Liv, Dom. I think the Randy Orton and Gunther is a very interesting fight as well. By the way, Randy Orton said in an interview with Cody Rhodes that before he went out at King of the Ring and he fought Gunther, he ate a whole jar of Nutella and he gained 9 pounds off of it.
Whoa.
Yeah, he said he went a little bit crazy and that he shouldn't have done that. He's like, that's why I looked a little sluggish when I went out there. But Mimsy, how are you doing? We haven't seen you in a while. Hadn't seen a comment from you in a while. How you been? Hi, Compas. What do you guys see as the end game for this new version of the Judgment Day? Oof.
That's a good question.
That's a really good question. I really haven't. I think they're gonna ride the Liv and Dom, no pun intended, for a while and kind of see where that goes. But I think we're headed for a Damian Priest versus Finn Balor WrestleMania match. That's why I feel like that's where we're headed with that. I think they're gonna kind of stay away from each other for a bit and then bring it back to that. But I don't know what the end game is. I don't know if it's because I think at one point Liv is gonna dump Dom. And maybe Dom's the leader of the new judge, or maybe Finn Balor. Because if you remember, when it was Edge, Damian Priest, and Rhea, Liv and Finn Balor said, we want to destroy the Judgment Day. They have destroyed the Judgment Day, essentially. So maybe they kind of start their own faction in a sense. But yeah, the copying from Eddie Guerrero in China. By the way, Gilbert, real quick. Well, let me finish on that. My bad. My brain jumps to like 30 different things. But that's what I think ultimately is going to end up happening. I don't know where Dom's going to go after this because I think it's going to be Finn Balor and Damian Priest that are going to wrestle. I don't know where Dom goes. I don't know what potentially he could do. It seems like Logan and him kind of teased winning the tag team championships together, which that would be like douchebag
galore.
Like tag team ever, which would be awesome. By the way, Dom said that Vince McMahon had thought about dangling him in the air when it was Eddie Guerrero versus Ray in the custody battle when they did the ladder match. That they were thinking about dangling him in the air, and he said that when he tried to hit Eddie, that Eddie got in his face and looked down on him, and he's like, "Crap, he's gonna hit me." And that Ray came up and saved him and everything. But you know, it's funny. Dom opened up about a lot of different things on that podcast, but the one thing he couldn't stop doing was taking shots at his dad. So I appreciate the level of commitment to that. But last thing I'm going to say, Gilbert, tonight is a sad Monday Night Raw. It is the last show of Pat McAfee on the commentary team. Joe Tessitore from ESPN is going to come in next Monday. He starts in 2 Mondays. He starts. He's a great announcer. He's done a great job with ESPN, but it kind of sucks that Pat's going to leave. He said it's not a goodbye, that he's going to be back. So maybe after the college football season, Pat's back. But I just think the dynamic that Michael Cole and Pat McAfee have had for the last few years, or for this last year, has been incredible.
So Michael Cole retires and Pat leaves, and then it's like a whole new team, or
no. Michael Cole's not leaving.
Okay, so
it's gonna be Joe Tessitore and Michael Cole. No.
Because it doesn't make sense because both of them are like the play-by-play guys. I'm wondering who's gonna be the color.
Yeah. So okay, on SmackDown they have 2 color commentary guys doing it. Okay. It's Wade Barrett and it's oh my god, I can't remember. Corey Graves. So I guess what they're saying now is that the way it's going to be is that it's going to be, let me see. Okay. So on SmackDown, it's going to be Michael Cole and Wade Barrett. Okay. And on Monday Night Raw, it's going to be Joe Tessitore and Corey Graves.
Okay.
Is this? Yeah, this is the new one, right?
Yeah. Tessitore, he's been doing ESPN Top Rank Boxing, and I could tell some people think he's too much for boxing, but I feel like for WWE, he might be just right.
Yeah. No, I think he could do a good job with it. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, but it just sucks because obviously, like I said, like Pat even said it today on his show. He's like, I think I'm built for WWE. Like ultimately, like he feels like that's his thing. That's what, where he feels, that's where he feels the most comfortable at, which has been great. I think he's done a great job there too. I think he's really grown. I think him and Michael Cole. I think he's brought out the best in Michael Cole, and I think Michael Cole's brought out the best of him. So I definitely think that they're going to do a great job with it. It sucks that Pat's leaving, but Pat's leaving because he has to do game day, and obviously it's a little much to do all that. But wait, actually, no, they said it's going to be Michael Cole and Joe Tessitore on Monday Night Raw, September 2nd, live from Denver, Colorado. So I wonder if that's only going to be for the time being, and then they're going to move. Oh, there it is. Yeah. It had previously been reported that it was going to be Tessitore with Corey Graves and Michael Cole with Wade Barrett, but they switched it because Pat McAfee's leaving. So yeah, that's very interesting. But
I think Michael Cole gives enough opinion and enough analysis to be maybe, but he's been one leading the charge for so many years. It's hard,
and he's been the one that's like been talking shit about Dom, and he really, I think that's the thing with Pat being there. I think he's brought out more personality, and I think that's what he's become. Maybe
there's a switch.
Yeah, he's become more animated, and he's like, "Oh, you dumb son of a bitch!" To Dominic Mysterio, he called him a cheater. He called him all kinds of stuff. So I definitely, I hope Pat's back. But I definitely like, Nestor's kind of onto something. Is Pat getting tsunami'd by Brunson Reed tonight to write him off? I'm actually interested to see how they're going to write him off. I don't think they'll do anything like that. If anything, who's even kind of feuding with, he's kind of feuded with Drew McIntyre here and there. Who knows if somebody knocks him off or if he just says, okay, I'm out. Good night. See you guys later. I actually like what Nestor's saying. The Mexican culture is being popular. Can see them bring back I lie, I cheat, I steal Dom. That actually would be interesting. Making the the negative. Yeah, they should make a. I don't think
they tried it last year and didn't really catch on.
Yeah, because of Santos Escobar, it didn't really go with him. So I think they need to do something different. But yeah, it's a shame that Pat McAfee will be gone. Hopefully, we'll see him at the Super Bowl, and hopefully, we get to talk to him a bit and see what is going on with that.
I know we got to move on for now, but I feel like LWO is more like Mexican American wrestlers.
Yeah,
like it's little cholo vibe.
Yeah,
and this new version of LWO was too Mexican, if that makes sense. Like
there has to be like a happy medium to all of this. Yeah,
and it just wasn't working. But I think that's the kind of sense I got because you got.
By the way,
and Eddie back
Vic
in the day.
asked if Bad Bunny's going to come back. I saw somebody on AI, or somebody asked AI what the WrestleMania matches are going to be. Somebody said Bad Bunny versus Logan Paul. I'm like, oh wow, that actually would be really interesting to see that. What do you guys think of Odyssey Joe's joining the New Day? Mimsy, unfortunately, that's what sucks, Gilbert, about and people say, oh, it's scripted, it's fake, it's this and that. But Big E can't come back because of that neck injury that he had. So I think Odyssey Jones brings something incredible. He's very athletic. He's a heavyset dude. Maybe he could be their Big E. I would hope WWE would continue the New Day and do something new with that, bring out a new version of them with Odyssey Jones, but I actually do like it. I think it'd be something new, something fresh, and I think Odyssey should be asking Big E for advice over what to do next.
Hey, one day, New Day in the Hall of Fame, WWE. I think so. No?
I think so. Yeah, no, they have to. They've been doing it for what, 8 years now. It's been a long time, so I definitely agree with it. Gilbert, you were nervous about this. You don't know what I'm going to bring up.
I can take a guess because I looked at the boxing schedule and there's only one fight that I think
that wasn't what I was going to ask you, actually. So I was listening to Oscar De La Hoya. By the way, that new video.
Oh yeah, I saw that video. Yeah,
we can't show that on here, and you guys know I'm pretty down to show a lot of stuff. I wouldn't want to hurt your guys' eyes with that.
Yeah, Oscar's having a good time.
Yeah. So he was on Club Shay Shay, and he said that he thought he beat Floyd Mayweather, the fight that they had, and that Floyd's dad came over to him and said, "You beat my son." Gilbert, is this true? Do you feel like in that fight with Floyd, he beat him?
What's weird about that fight? A lot of people thought that Oscar won. A lot of people thought that to me, it felt like at the time there was just so much hate from Mayweather, and I'm like, I don't see it. I think Mayweather did a good amount. It wasn't like a total mismatch, but like you could tell Mayweather was in his prime. Yeah, De La Hoya was, bigger, obviously older, but you could tell Mayweather was picking him apart. It wasn't like to the point where Mayweather destroyed Canelo. I'm sure Oscar reminds Canelo that, hey, I did better against Mayweather than you did. But I don't get this robbery thing where Oscar thought he beat Mayweather. I thought it was flat out clear to me that Mayweather won, and that's why Mayweather went on to become the money man that he was, because I think it was clear. It's just he annoyed a lot of people with the. By the way, I like that Oscar called that Floyd for having the sombrero backwards. Yeah. So he annoyed people with the sombrero and the Mexican flag, which I hate that people keep trying to do it. Like, no, it only happened once with Mayweather. He was smart to do it back then, but everybody wants to come out with the Mexican colors to gain that Mexican audience or hate because they do watch and they do pay. Shout out to the Mexican boxing fans there. But no, I don't get what Oscar's talking about. And as we see, Oscar's having a good time and maybe he's trolling everybody.
So these are basically Oscar questions because I was interested to hear his interview. He also said that he felt a lot of backlash from people because he beat Chavez, and that a lot of people were like, no, he's not really Mexican. He's just he's an American. He's this, he's that. Is that what you felt like that really did happen?
Oh, yeah.
He kind of went heel a little bit because of it.
I don't know if Oscar promoter is a good heel. Oscar the fighter, it just couldn't be a heel because he kind of, I don't know, I shouldn't say this, but he talks a little not tough. And he has a pretty boy face. He won the gold medal. He's a golden boy. He's, it's the same thing. Canelo Alvarez gets hate in Mexico because he's not. Like, obviously, I think Canelo had a rough upbringing, but he's not straight. He's not a rough guy, a tough guy. Yeah. He's more of a pretty boy, like Canelo, obviously, things like that. But De La Hoya did get a lot of hate from one, because also, like, it's tough for a Mexican American. What's that line that's Edward James almost said in Selena? You're not Mexican enough for the Mexicans. You're not American enough for the Americans. So you're like in the middle, right? And then we throw in the whole pretty boy thing for Oscar, and then you go beat the legend Chavez Sr. the way you did 2 times. And I don't think I remember the first fight, Fernando, but I remember the second one. I just remember all the uncles and my grandpa, all the older Mexicans, man. They really wanted Chavez to win. They hated De La Hoya. And I'm like in the corner, like, go De La Hoya, because, he's Mexican-American. He grew up nearby East LA, and I was going for him. And when he won the fight, I was talking crap. Like, yeah, my guy won, even though I wasn't calling him my guy at the time. But that's how vicious it was, the rivalry. But Chavez was on the way out and things like that. And also De La Hoya was older. It just happens. But I thought that was a big moment in boxing history where, the torch was passed to the next iconic star. He obviously he's not from Mexico, but I think we're getting to that point where Mexican Americans are, I guess, considered good enough to be in the eye of like the pay-per-view fights in Mexico. I'm sorry, Mexican audience. Like I think De La Hoya did a good job, even though he was hated and he wasn't born in Mexico. He was a big time pay-per-view draw. Mexican Independence Weekend, Cinco de Mayo. He did that, and he wasn't born in Mexico.
Dante was telling me that in the first one that everybody knew that that Chavez was told not to fight that.
Oh yeah,
he had a gash, and that Oscar knew it, and that he just went at that gash the whole time. But speaking of that, and Dante was saying that the bets were too big in Vegas, and they're like, no, like you have to go out there and perform.
And Chavez had a lot of pressure. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah. He also said that he kind of discovered Canelo. Would you agree with that?
Chavez Sr.?
No.
Oscar. No, I thought because a lot during the time I was working in Las Vegas covering boxing, that was after Mayweather retired and Canelo started becoming the face of boxing. So there was a lot of stories about his profile. And everything I got was like this guy, people hated Canelo because I'm forgetting the channels, but it was La Azteca and Televisa, the two main networks there. They were just putting this guy on TV like crazy. He was on their TV screens so much that people hated the guy. He was on there a lot. So his profile was already built. And remember, even at that presser with Munguia, where like, I made Canelo. Like, no, I made myself. I believe Canelo because all those Mexican media kept talking about Canelo. And that's why when the second that De La Hoya got him, he put him in big time fights when he was 20 years old because he already had a profile. Like everybody wanted to see him. And I remember at the time it was between Chavez Jr. and Canelo, who's going to be the next star. And obviously Canelo beat Chavez Jr. Well, not in the fight, but in the profile and building your resume and your career. There was one night where they both fought on the same time in Las Vegas, like maybe 2 miles apart from each other, and Canelo had the better fight.
He also said that he's the one that told Canelo, you need to start speaking English.
I could maybe see that for credit, yeah, because...
And I guess he said that he told Ryan, you need to start learning Spanish as well.
I can see that. And to Oscar's credit, he knows Spanish and English, both languages, very well. He knows how much that benefited him. And yeah, Ryan doesn't even try. And to Canelo's credit, he's become like a different star, like a different level. And like he's a TikTok star, man. This new generation just loves the accent and him talking crap in English.
That's funny. Can
Good
one of the
Vargas, by the way, Fernando? I like these conversations about Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo.
Oh, well, I was listening to the interview, and I wanted to do this last week, but then I was like, oh, well, wait till this week, and I felt like it was a good time. Can one of the Vargas kids be the next Mexican American to sell boxing? Emiliano?
Yeah, he was a friend of the show, and like we admitted, we weren't too familiar with the Vargas family, and then we saw Emiliano fight, and like, oh, this guy's really good. Obviously, that fight with Amado and Sean Garcia, that was an entertaining fight. So okay, these guys are getting on my radar. They're not obviously in the championship level fights, but I think Emiliano, who's 20 years old, right, could maybe get there like in 3 to 4 years. So I could definitely see that knockout he had. I think maybe a week before we talked to him was vicious, man.
Yeah, I think him and Ryan Garcia took a picture at the.
Hey, that could be a good fight in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
And I think at that point, Emiliano will probably win because I think Garcia might be a little older by then.
What, like with Oscar, like he's going around and kind of talking a little like. So when asked about Ryan Garcia, I think this was on PBD on Patrick Bet-David's show. He said that Ryan needs somebody that's going to be in his ear to look after him. Isn't that kind of his job in a sense? Or
Oscar said that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. But like we all remember when he lost to Gervonta Davis, Oscar was nowhere to be found. The thing with Oscar, like this is a serious topic, but like sometimes he has his moments where he's not doing well mentally and with the other stuff, the recreational use, and he needs to check out, and he has to he has to figure himself out. So he's not really, maybe maybe people know what they sign up with Oscar. Like, he's a good promoter. I think he's one of the best promoters in the game.
Yeah.
He's very entertaining. He knows how to sell a fight. He's annoying. He's talkative. He's charming at times. He has his legacy. So maybe that's why you go work for the guy. But then you hear the horror stories about the business side. Maybe Canelo accusing him of taking money, and then also his personal demons and issues. Like, I think you kind of know what you get with Oscar at this point, if you want the profile and the fame. But yeah, Oscar should definitely be the one telling him, "Hey, stop listening to people." And I think Ryan fired his manager. He's fired a good amount of people. Maybe he's on the right path. I don't know.
You know, it's funny. We haven't had a Canelo type of prospect in years. Dude was knocking grown men out at 14. Yeah, he said his friends would make him fight. His brothers would make him fight kids that were their age.
Oh yeah, he had like 8 brothers, right? And they all fought.
Yeah. And they also fight in TJ and stuff like that. By the way, there's some interesting fights in TJ. Maybe one day we should make our way. There was 2 names that Dante told me about, but I can't remember who they are. But I remember the names. I just can't remember who those guys are. But definitely an interesting.
I like these low key fights. I've never been to one in TJ, but I'm sure it'll be quite.
There was gonna be a fight between El Terrible and Oscar De La Hoya, I think, a couple of years back.
Exhibition?
They were gonna do one. Yeah, they were gonna do one, and they didn't. Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. was supposed to fight down here as well, and they didn't end up doing it. Thank God. By the way, real quick. I like the Oscar De La Hoya. The Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, they were at Fanatics.
They had okay, that's what it was. I'm like, are they having a press conference on a Sunday? Who the hell did this?
They were at Fanatics.
Oh, okay.
Vic says he has a nephew that fights in Mexicali. You know,
okay. All right.
So Mike did not sound like he's doing that well.
This fight's a joke, man, and it's exhibition here. I hope that maybe Jake Paul wakes up. Okay, I'm not gonna beat up on this old man here, and I get that.
They seem pretty gung ho on that.
And I don't want to see.
Are we gonna go to that if it comes out to LA like a press conference?
It will get views, it'll get attention. If it's in our backyard, why not? It's worth the trouble. But like, especially with Tyson videos, do so damn well. By the way,
yeah.
I think Manuk, our friend of the show, has gotten a couple of Tyson videos. He was there covering a lot. Tyson, Roy Jones, remember that fight a couple of years ago? And his content was out of control. So shout out to Manuk, one of the hardest workers I know in the game. Yeah, if it's in LA, that'd be cool to go to. And if it's well run, how about that? Wink, wink to other people. Well run. We'll make it out there.
Nestor with a great question. Has Canelo surpassed Julio to you guys?
Oh no. It's one of these, like, it's like the Michael Jordan shadow. It's hard to surpass that. And then a lot of people, I shouldn't call out one of my family members. I'll just say this. One of my older family members, I saw him not too long ago. He's not a fan of Canelo Alvarez. And that's kind of the sense you get from a lot of older people in Mexico.
Yeah. I have a lot of uncles.
But maybe he's talking about resume and not profile and popularity. Chavez in his time, he beat a lot of champions too.
Mayweather versus Gotti 3. Why don't you take a guess? Why don't you take a guess at how much it is
to watch it?
Yeah,
I don't know, $50.
That's how. Yeah.
Okay. No way you're charging $80.
We should have been there. Mexico City.
Well, there might be a fight after, like last time,
Bruh, I'm telling you, like that last time, it wasn't pretty. Now they're gonna have the federales on them. Every time I hear the word federales, I just think of the way Martin Lawrence used to say it. I love
federales.
Federales. Real quick, just to before we close up shop, did you hear the shot that Randy Orton took at a certain NBA superstar?
I didn't. Oh wait, I did, but I forgot which player.
Okay, hold on.
The GOAT. Greatest of all time, right? It's what we call John, greatest of all time, but there's a GOAT.
Does he call John the greatest of all time?
Cool, all the different things. And the stats of LeBron.
Okay. There we go. He's been drinking.
He's F LeBron. Bro, I'm telling you, I think more people think like that than they come out and say, like, I don't think that dude's as well liked as what people let on to be.
Hey, he's still 40 and winning gold medals and playing on the gold medal game in the final minutes. I think, but I know it's different.
Gilbert, last thing, and then we will head out. Again, everybody, thank you so much. Gilbert, if you were offered $1 billion to go play in Saudi Arabia, would you do it?
$1 billion? I will do it for $100,000.
Vinicius Jr. of Real Madrid reportedly had been offered a 5-year contract worth $1 billion to play for Al Hilal Ali by
so
the
they have to be there for the
Saudi
entire season, not like one game or anything.
No.
Okay,
So
a little more.
If he accepts, he would earn $4.2 million a week, $600,000 a day, $25,000 an hour, $416 a minute.
Hey, Fernando, I'm gonna pull a Noah Lyles. I have no idea who this guy is.
Bro, he's the best left winger in the world. What are you talking about?
No, I kid because the only reason I know because the last time I asked who that is, your brother blew a gasket. So yeah.
Oh yeah. But can you imagine like getting paid that much money?
Dude, that's why. I'm not a big soccer fan, but wink, wink. If I have a kid, soccer would be the way to go. A lot of money.
Which one? Tell me which one. I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't know which one you're talking about. I think I do, but I don't think you do. I do. Yeah, no, this is ridiculous. Like, can you imagine all this much money like being thrown around in the world of soccer? I mean, soccer is ridiculous. Like the amount of money that they throw out there and everything is freaking nuts. But
baseball and soccer, those are sports.
He's only 23 years old too. So I think that's the reason why he doesn't want to go. I don't remember this. Vic, which one is it?
Look it up and let's see.
Can you send me a link or something? Because I'll remember real quick. Gilbert, Tom Brady spoke about why it's so hard for while Vic gets that why it's hard for what what rookie quarterbacks face today.
There used to be college programs. Now there are college teams. You're no longer learning a program, you're learning a playbook. And the program is ultimately like at Michigan. For me, that was a pro-style program. 5 years, I got to learn how to drop back pass, to read defenses, to read coverages, to be coached. I had to learn from being 7th quarterback on the depth chart to moving up to 3rd to ultimately being a starter. I had to learn all those things in college. That was development. Then I went to New England and I was developed by Coach Belichick and the offensive staff there. I didn't start my first year. I think it's just a tragedy that we're forcing these rookies to play early. But the reality is the only reason why they are is because we dumbed the game down, which has allowed them to play. It used to be thought of at a higher level. We used to spend hours and hours in the offseason and training camp trying to be a little bit better than next year. But I think what happens is discourages the coaches from going to deep levels because they realize the players don't have the opportunity to go to a deep level. So they're just going to teach them where they're at. There used to be college programs. Now,
yeah, that is what did you make of that?
Yeah, and I'll give you another thing that I saw from this Tom Brady interview after this, but it's tough trying to figure out what's the right answer. Like, hey, play right away or don't play right away. And it's like, for every Justin Herbert and CJ Stroud and Joe Burrow, you get like a Zach Wilson or a Kenny Pickett or whatever. Like these guys struggle with, but you just gotta gauge it and be a coach. I don't think it's this old school mentality. Maybe Tom Brady's right where the new age is different, but honestly, after watching CJ Stroud last year and covering Herbert his rookie year, like I'm not one of those guys that say you gotta sit him. Like not everybody's gonna be Patrick Mahomes, not everybody's gonna be Jordan Love, but I get what he's saying. He's an old school guy. And the one thing for now that stood out from the interview, I was annoyed with Tom Brady when Stephen A was like, "Are you gonna criticize people?" Like he's like, "No, I won't criticize people." Like I could relate to these guys. I'm like, "What are you talking about? You're a commentator. You gotta sometimes criticize." I'm like, "Why are you being a commentator if you're not gonna do it?" And then he did an okie doke on me and threw a jab at Daniel Jones. So maybe he was trolling me all along. So I like that he said, "Yeah, if I say Daniel Jones threw an interception," and then everybody, and he knew what he was doing, calling out Daniel Jones for an interception.
Oh yeah, Mimsy. I'll say I do agree with it to a certain extent, but if you want the full reaction, I'm hoping to get Dan and Dago on this week for What's Up Bolts. That one's going to be a reaction to see. Dan has not seen the list. I'm not letting him see the list. So that's going to be an interesting reaction.
Yes,
so
Jesse. Old man yelling at the clouds. Tom Brady,
last one. I don't know if you have any plans on getting hitched, but this guy may be in the future with what he's doing. Listen to this, Gilbert.
All right, TikTok, tell me if I'm tripping or not. So me and my fiance, we are getting married, right? And to be a part of our wedding, you have to pay $450 for a ticket.
Whoa, that's more than the Sunday ticket.
So we invited friends and family to our wedding. Tell me why everybody that we invited has declined the invitation. We already have spent 100.
Chad, is he wrong for
almost
this?
Close to $200,000 on the wedding. We have already pre-ordered the cake. We already put down a deposit for the venue. We've already got the wedding dress, everything. We pay for everything for the wedding, DJ, photographer, everything for the wedding. And what I don't understand is that y'all spend 400 more money on stupid stuff, but you can't come out and support your family and your friends at a wedding. Like, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell it, like, is we wrong? We like let me.
Chad, are they wrong? What do you guys think? Do you think he's wrong for charging his guests $450?
Well, first of all, is it a destination wedding?
Each.
Because if you're doing a destination wedding, you're probably paying more than $450. So I give my man a point there. If it's not a destination wedding, then we'll see.
Hugh says he's watching this while eating his In-N-Out. He's got a 4x4, 2 fries, and a strawberry
Hey, what's
shake.
up, Hugh? Hopefully we're making this In-N-Out better by listening to us. We appreciate that.
Mimsy says he's 100. Oh, my bad, Vic. He is 100% wrong for this. I'd never pay to go to a wedding. Well, you do pay.
Destination.
If we're being honest, you do pay to go to the wedding.
Hey, but it does say a lot that nobody accepted, not even close family circle friends that not saying, yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe you're a terrible person to begin with.
You know what's funny, and I'm gonna be honest, and my mom is gonna hate me for saying this, but there have been times where aunts of ours or people say no son costo efecto usted tu familia. We're not cost effective. Like, you bring one gift, but it's 5 people that come to the party or come to the this. You guys are going to eat and consume more than whatever you're going to pay for the gift. I'm like, damn, Mexicans are the freaking worst when it comes to this kind of stuff.
You know what? I have another hot take I just thought about, Fernando. I think at my wedding, I'm not going to allow any kids. No children.
That's not a hot take. Okay. That's not a hot take.
I don't want nobody crying. Go find a babysitter. It might cost you $450, but not at my wedding.
No. That
okay, good.
You know what? I would allow, like, the way I've seen my family weddings in the past, it's you allow the kids to come to the church, and then for the party, there's no kids there. So at least they can.
I don't know about the church, because it could be the church could be a special moment. It might ruin it when you're like saying your vows, but definitely not the party. But you're right. I like the exception there too. We're like, okay, now
your
maybe
vows would be interesting, because you're not a guy that really says your feelings all that much. And I think your vows would be.
I am a writer, so I'm gonna have to write this down for sure.
Okay, but you're not a speaker. Like, you've gotten to speak on here, but you're not really a speaker in that sense. So I'd be really.
And also, you never know how the emotions hit you during the time.
I know, and I think it's gonna be a glorious speech. But I'm interested to see the way you would deliver it. It would be.
It might happen soon, and maybe you'll be there soon too.
Maybe. Hey, guys, I got a maybe I'll be there. So that's it right there.
I'm just a person who doesn't like to like jinx anything. So I'm like, I want you to be there for sure.
I love Nestor. Nestor, charge your family for a daycare provider.
Hey, if I'm doing well and Compas is making a bunch of money in a few years, maybe I'll pay for all the babysitters. How about that?
And honestly, like, especially for a Mexican wedding, because I had a friend, shout out to Kayla, her mom would say, I'll buy you guys, I'll give you guys a down payment for a house. Was it but I'm not paying for a wedding. She took the house. Her sister took the big expensive wedding. So
really, I would take the house.
Yeah, exactly. So she bought a house in Vegas. She rents it out actually, and she lives in an apartment. Like I was like, damn, you were smart. Like,
get that house. You rent it out, then that money pays for the wedding.
Exactly. So but I wouldn't do went to a wedding once that had a separate room for kids to play in.
Not bad. Not bad. There's ways around it. I'm not a total monster here.
Yeah, exactly. Gilbert could also create new jobs and get somebody and be like, hey, can you just watch these kids and give them a bottle of booze and they can fall asleep?
But if I hear a peep coming out that room, you guys are leaving immediately.
Exactly. The belt's coming out. But yeah, no, awesome show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much to Eric D. Williams. Guys, if you guys did not check out that interview, make sure you guys go back and check it out. If not, tomorrow we will be releasing the full interview. So make sure you guys are hit the notification button so you guys know. Guys, that notification button now with Twitter acting up and everything, or X or whatever the shit you want to call it, with all that acting up, you guys are going to want to hit that notification button so you guys know when we go live. typically we'll have our full schedule maybe out next week of how we're going to do it during the regular season. But typically Mondays we're usually anywhere from 4 to 5. So hopefully you guys can join us. Tuesday show will come back as well. But we'll get into more details next week. But hopefully you guys hit that notification button and you guys are jumping in, and so we can have awesome discussions on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a great show. Eric brought the fire today. He was really on one. So Hugh, enjoy your in and out. I will watch the replay. Sorry, I missed it due to yard work.
What's up, Brett?
We'll hit the like and rewatch for sure. Brett, thank you so much. That is awesome. But yeah, hit the notification button so you guys get the alerts from when we're going to go live. Again, we apologize that there was no extra. There was no Victor producer and no Dan and Dago. We apologize for that.
We are working on contracts with Victor and Dan. That's why they're.
I know.
Right now.
Yeah, exactly. So one's easier to navigate than the other. Everybody already probably knows who we're talking about, but again, thank you guys so much. Thank you to Eric. Thank you to Hugh, to Brett, to Nestor, to Mimsy, to Jesse. Thank you to Leo. Thank you to DZ. Thank you to Jorge. Thank you to Nick. Who's the Rams fan Delbert. Thank you, Delbert. So you're up your paw.
Al G fella at the start the show.
Yeah, no, Michael, DJ Phono. Thank you guys so much. You guys are honestly
a good amount
awesome.
of names too. I haven't seen in a minute, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're getting new people.
Nestor I hadn't seen in a while, so I'm glad Nestor was back. But guys, again, we're gonna be doing football. We're gonna be doing combat sports. We're doing it all. So make sure you guys tune in. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys. But for the time being, Gilbert, ¿sabes qué? Vámonos.
Yeah, let me say a couple of words here because I thought this show was a very good show, and sometimes it's difficult to get people to like a lot of things. It's like, okay, you talk football or you talk boxing, you talk WDB, and people kind of just tune out. I feel like people they were into the conversation and the vibe here, regardless if it was just football. And shout out to maybe Eric got the good vibes going because Eric brought the heat, good information, and people stuck around. Like when we take a left turn to WDB or a right turn to boxing or take a weird turn to a wedding conversation. Like I like that people are here, and we got our guy is a Hugh eating in and out. Just listen to us talk. That to me, I always feel like, oh, maybe we're kind of all over the place, but people like that. We're just hanging out with the compas, a little random. But like you mentioned already, Fernando, we got to get Dan on soon. We want to get the 4 compas on. So maybe during the football season, we won't have shows that are 2 hours long. Maybe. Or not maybe, but I think we're going to work on Monday having football for 1 hour, you and I, and then Tuesday we get some combat sports, and then later on we'll get Dan and Dave when he gets home for football practice because we got to get the 4 compas. Obviously, you got What's Up Bolts, and we got House of Horns. We're getting a whole network here, so the schedule of the shuffling might be a little different during football season, but you're going to get everything you just got today in 2 hours throughout the whole NFL season. I can't wait for real football, by the way.
Yeah, no, exactly. Let's get this out of the way because all of a sudden Bo Nix is an All-Pro, Super Bowl champion. So let's see what it really is all about. Also, hopefully next week we will get Tyler Dragon on.
Let's get those stories going.
Yeah, exactly. So je ne sais pas. So we'll see if Tyler brings on a little French. He's like, I should have taken you as my translator. I'm like, bro. All you got to do is tell the beautiful women, tu es très jolie, and they're all over you. And he's like, what does that mean? You are beautiful. And then he just starts laughing. He's like, you're a dog, homie. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, row, row, row. So,
let's end the show. That was a good ending.
But hopefully we'll get Tyler on. Hey, Tyler also does NFL, a little Lakers as well. So we'll talk about him about it. And I'm mentioning him like where he's on. Hopefully he'll be on, but
we can't even ask him. He's probably watching.
We have to ask him, but no. Brett said he likes the variety. He's not a big boxing, but will stick around just for Bolt News. Today was amazing because of the son of Odin has returned.
There you go. That's why everybody's happy.
Yeah, Brett, appreciate it, guys. Hopefully Wednesday, Dan and Dago might jump on and we'll do What's Up Bolts. I'm kind of hoping it'll be Wednesday. It'll be Wednesday, probably around this time actually. So make sure you guys are. Hit the notification button so you guys know, but
they might have to choose because House of Horns might be on at the same time Wednesday. So
that's true. Yeah. So we'll see how
try to find both.
yeah, we'll see how all that goes. But yeah, so make sure you guys tune in. And again, thank you to everybody for jumping on. And hopefully we'll get Tyler Dragon on, and hopefully Dan and Dago and Vic get their contracts all squared away so that they can come back. But all right, Gilbert, sabes que vámonos.
Yeah, good show. One of the best ones in a good while. We're all excited for football. We're excited for Stafford being back. We're excited for Herbert being back. We're excited for Eric Williams being on the show. And next week we got to get Tyler Dragon because you already said it, Fernando. But
I've said it like 4 times now.
Yeah, but But on that note, ya nos vamos. Pues vámonos.
Au revoir.